Hello and welcome to Lis Art Studios. Today I am going to talk to you about the 3 R's: reducing, reusing, and recycling. Here at Lis Art Studios, we try to use the 3 of them because it is important to take care of our environment, and this is the way that we can do it. So I'm going to start by the first one. The first one that we do here is reducing. Okay, we try to use the materials that we have over and over again. So if I use, for example, a piece of cardboard and I know that I'm only going to use a square of it, I only cut a square of this cardboard. I don't use the whole thing because then I could use it for another project. So that's the way that we are reducing, okay, things here in Lis Art Studios. For example, this newspaper. I already used this part of the newspaper, but I did not throw it away. I kept it here because for our next projects, we are going to be using newspaper to put on the table if we paint, if we use clay, if we use different things. So that is why I don't throw it away. I reuse it. So what we want to do is reuse things that we already have so we can reduce the amount of waste, okay? So at the last moment when I know that I'm not going to use something anymore, for example, this piece of paper that I use for textures, I rub, and then this is already flat, so I no longer need it. So then I am going to recycle it. But the first thing that I do is take it and reuse it. So let me show you some materials that I brought today that I put here on my table that you could start saving so you could reuse them, okay, at your house and when you do the projects at Lis Art Studios. Alright, first, well, I brought this package of cookies because these are the papers that surround the cookies, okay? Well, this came from a cookie box, from another type of cookie box. This one came from in here. So what I do is that every time I see that I find some paper or I find some materials with different textures, I keep them. And how do I keep them? Well, I keep them in one of these, what is this? Well, this is a water bottle. So I take my water bottles, I cut them at the top, and then I put my materials inside. For example, here I have some textures to do rubbings. I have leaves, I have circles also in here that I took from curtains, old curtains, and I kept them here because I could rub on these and a perfect circle comes out. So these are the ideas that I'm giving you because I use them in my studio. I use water bottles, why? Because I could see what I have inside. So I put them in my shelves and I see exactly what I am looking for. So I'm going to start putting things down as I tell you, okay, so you could get ideas. So the first thing that I wanted to tell you was the recipient. The recipient is a water bottle, okay, just a normal water bottle. All right, I'm gonna put it down here. There are also other recipients you could use. For example, this is from a fruit tray. Apples came in here, and look what I did. I have a bunch of different necklaces that I put in here because sometimes I use beads for the art projects. So I put it here and I see it really well and really fast, okay? I also use cups. For example, these are sequins, and I use these when I use like metal things. So I keep them in a cup so I could see what I have right away. And like it's my studio and I'm not gonna drop it, I also use glass sometimes, and I put 2 things in here that I find, like these are metal things. I also put them in there. Another recipient that I use a lot are trays. The fruit trays, the food tray, sometimes ham comes in here or fruits come in here. I use them to put the materials inside the trays and I put them on the table when I'm teaching students, and like that they could all share. Now, you could use any type of trays. For example, you could use black trays. See, I used this one already, it's painted. You could use transparent trays. You could use many types of trays. I put these here so you could see them also and get ideas. Now, we already talked about paper, so I'm going to put the paper down here. Now, another thing, trays. Trays are good to cut them and keep loose squares because then you're going to be making prints with these. So these are really good to keep along too, right? Another thing that I always keep in my studio are old magazines, because when we make collage, we want to use the old magazines also, okay? We want to cut from here. The pictures usually in magazines have lots of color and are very nice, so I keep these around. I really like them. I'm going to put them down. All right. Toys. I showed you already this tray, but toys, round things, things that have textures like a comb. This is from my hair, okay? But it was old already, didn't work very well. So for textures, it's also good. For stamping, just circles. Old animals. See the feet? You're gonna use the feet for stamping, so this is really, really cool. So trays and old toys. Now, another thing that has textures that I use are the bags from the onions and the apples and the oranges. I always keep these because these are essential to art. So I always keep these. So in the lessons, you're gonna see how I use them. Other things that I use in our lessons are old CDs. So anytime you have old CDs, you could just take a container, okay, a water container, and then you put it inside, okay, and just keep them there because you will use them later on, all right? Another thing that I keep for sculptures and for frames and lots of things are sticks. Yes, a stick is your friend. Anyways, so wood pieces. Any type of wood pieces that you find that you don't no longer use at your house, keeps the wood together because these are really good to make sculptures. So I also keep them in here so I could see it better, okay? I always like to find things really fast. So cardboard from cereal boxes. I always make them flat, and I always keep them also. Very, very convenient to have those around because they have very bright colors and you can make lots of things with them. Newspaper is always really good so you don't get the table all dirty, okay? Now let's continue here. When I paint, I always like to use egg cartons because you don't have to clean, and everyone uses egg cartons, so everyone has egg cartons at home. So if you take these to school or you use them at home, you could put the paint in here, you could reuse them, or you could just recycle it, okay? You could just recycle it and you don't have to be cleaning, you don't have to waste water or anything. All you have to do is clean your brush and that's it. You put this in the recycling bin and you're recycling in the carton bin, okay? So, egg cartons. Look how many I've got. Ooh la la. Okay? Another thing that I use are bags. Different color bags. I know I had another one here that fell down. This blue one. So I had, every time I find like really bright colors, I keep them, I cut them, see? And I keep them because I could use it for collages, for weavings, for a lot of things. In art, you could use bags. Okay, and like that, I'm not throwing it away, and I am just reusing everything, okay? For water, for your brushes, to dry your brushes. If you have anything like this of plastic, you put it in the middle of the table and you could just, and it's not gonna fall down because if you take a little cup, like a plastic cup, the water might spill, so you want something heavy, you know, and these are yogurt. These are from yogurts that we ate, and I kept them because they're very, very convenient, and as you see, I've used them a lot, okay? Now, I always keep old markers. Why? Because even if they don't work, you could always make things with them, okay? You can make pictures, you can make sculptures, you can make collages, you can make lots of things, and we will be using them in Lis Art Studio later on this year. All right, so start keeping those metal things. See, I keep metal things that I am going to be using, and I keep it together because like that, when I want to do the project, I just take my metal things and I put it on the table and we're ready to go, okay? Other things that I keep are, this is a fabric rose, but I use it for printing. So when you put paint here and you print, the print comes out perfect. So you could use it like that, okay? So I always keep these. They're very nice to keep around and you could always use them. Okay, so if you find some of those, keep them. Tops of bottles, different tops of bottles. You could use these for eyes, or you could use it for anything, for lots of projects. So I keep these also for rubbings. You could use it for many things. So keep those too, and you are going to use them, okay? Let's see, let's continue. Now, two last things I'm going to tell you today. For example, this is from paper towels, and these are toilet paper rolls, and I always keep them because I could always use them for sculptures, for paper mache, for so many things. So I want you to think about keeping all these things together in a plastic container so you can see it. You know, it's my idea and it's the way that I do it. You could do it any other way, but for me it's easier to find something when I see it, when it's visible. So this is another thing that I always keep around. And the last thing that I'm going to tell you today, because there's so many other things that I could tell you, but I will make another video to let you know, is wrapping paper. Wrapping paper, any type of wrapping paper that you find is always good for art, okay? For collages, for lots of things, weavings, for lots of things. So for mosaics, for so many things. So I always keep my paper around, and then if you have a birthday party or something, you could always wrap a present. You always have it, you always find it. So that is that for today. That is the way that here at Lis Art Studios we help our world, we reuse things and we reduce, and if we no longer need it, then we recycle it. Okay, so I hope this helped you. I hope your studio becomes so efficient and so visible for you, and I hope you have a great day. So I'll see you in class. Bye bye.